none of that.
Listen. Let me tell y'all something. This right here. This is my quarantine look. I don't know what else to tell anybody. But this is my quarantine look, and that's it for right now. I can't give y'all. I can't give nobody nothing else. This is it right here. This is quarantine look. So, hi you guys. Welcome. We are live with Mr. Quiet Thunder himself, Horace Towns. If you have been watching the our dating town hall, you know why I call him the Quiet Thunder, because he don't say much, but when he do talk, it's powerful. And so yeah, I've gotten quite a few responses about him needing to talk more and all this stuff. So y'all got it right here, Mr. Horace Towns joining us, and we gonna get into it. Like, yeah,
Well,
we gonna get into it.
well, let me say first off, I apologize in advance for some of my thoughts. They are my own, and I own them. So I do have some dysfunction inside stuff that I say, but it's what I believe. And oftentimes I'm very serious, and people think I'm being like, no, this
Yeah.
is really how I feel. They be like, you can't be serious. I'm like, yeah, absolutely I am. So we'll see.
Yeah, yeah. Well, let's go and get into it. But I think the beauty of the conversations that we've been having is that people get to be themselves, and I told you guys that when we first started. Listen, be yourself. Bring
Mm-hmm.
everything that you think to the table, because it's not a town hall. It's not a town hall without people having different opinions
Mm-hmm.
or different thoughts about stuff, because that's what makes it so exciting and unique. And we're all bringing something to the table, and yeah, it's just different. We're all just different. And coming up with what to wrap up with you, I was just like, okay, going back to the video, and I was just like, this is it, because then of course people call me, or I got text messages, and so it's really interesting. And so we want to talk more about DM culture, because I'm gonna tell you right now, I didn't know about DM culture. I was slow to tick. um I I didn't even realize, like, I get people on Instagram, sometimes on Twitter, but I didn't know it was like that, especially on Facebook, because Facebook filters stuff. And I went to my Facebook filters because I saw you post something about Facebook filters and so many DMs over there. I was just like, let me check my man. I was ashamed of myself. I was like, I done missed out on some people talking to me. I didn't even know, because they not on you. You can always tell when they're no longer, they don't have an account anymore, because it's just a little gray little thing. They're gone
Yeah.
now. I mean, when I tell you stuff out, ooh, jeez, I was just like, so y'all need to check that Facebook filter in your messages, because somebody might,
Yeah.
the love of your
Listen,
life might be in your you don't
that
know.
box is aggressive. Look, that box is aggressive. I had messages that I had missed out on, and it was a couple of them. I was like, dang, I missed out on that one. But listen, between that and Gmail, those inboxes are aggressive, man. And some of the messages, I just told somebody about that message box, and it was a female, and she was talking about some of the most ridiculous messages that she would get, that she
Right.
received, even friend requests. So it's interesting, man.
Yeah.
Social media, but I think for you it's different. You went to college. I don't know the culture around Tuskegee, so you understand DM culture, just not on the level that it's on now. You understand hookup culture.
I understand hookup culture. I've been there, done that. I got a t-shirt for that. But
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just, I think for me, I'm still wrapping my mind around um DM culture overall. But I think that, especially now with this quarantine, it's easier to not necessarily accept, but get, for me, only because I'm very personable. Like, I prefer face-to-face contact. Like, I'm just now getting used to text messages. Because why text me when you can call me? Especially, it's going to be 15 paragraphs long. You better pick up the phone and call me, or I'm calling you. Don't text me no 15 paragraphs, and you can call me. And so I think, I think that's just where the differences are in generations and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And then, at college, it was just different.
Yeah, but see,
It's different.
the generation is different. It's personable versus impersonal.
Yes.
And for you would rather have a phone call, just get it over with. We're gonna chat it up and we done. A
Right.
lot of people that entertain a lot of people, text message gives them an option whether I want
Be
or
bothered.
respond, or I can lie and say, "Oh, I didn't get it." That's the number one. I didn't get that message, knowing dang well you got it. If you got Apple, you know that read message.
Social
Yeah. Oh,
skills are
that's a
just
hurtful feeling too. You
people's
got that
social
damn
skills are
message.
jacked up. But I agree with you. That whole listen, Apple messed up folks with that whole read because you
Mm-hmm.
like they done pulled in email culture into text messages, so you can't really say you didn't read it because it's telling people that they are.
Mm-hmm. But God bless Instagram. They got that good old unseen.
Woo! Yes,
Yeah.
sir. Yes, sir.
What message?
I just go to it and don't even look at it. I just want to see who it is. And it's funny. What I love about it is this is what I find very interesting about DM culture and people who approach you. You on Instagram, you got 5,000 followers, you following 5,000 people, but you got 0 posts. And you've been on Instagram. You ain't new to Instagram. You've been on Instagram for a while because Instagram tell your business. Who sent you? Because that's my first question is who sent you? Why? Why? It's Instagram. You should have at least, or you got one picture. What?
A lot of people lurk.
Right. But you're not gonna lurk with me. That's a red flag to me. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that is a red flag to me. And so I've had people on Twitter, and it's just like I'm going to go check out your tweets. I'm going to go check out what you put out there, and I might respond, and I might not. I don't know.
Yeah,
I've
but
had the
listen.
whole beautiful queen, such. I've seen it.
Yeah.
I laugh when I see memes about that because you already know what's gonna come after that. Oh, you're such a beautiful queen, and da 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 da. It's just like
But that's what gets you to WTF. Welcome to the friend zone.
because I just look at it like, what do you
But
want?
Twitter, listen, I do think, me personally, I think each platform has a different people. Like Twitter is my thing. I love Twitter, and I know you're on Twitter a lot.
Yeah,
And
I be on Twitter
you
a lot.
know,
I do. I be on Twitter a lot.
yeah, yeah, we link up a lot on Twitter. For
Yeah,
some people, now you got Snapchat, which is above me. I won't do it. I can't. It's
I don't.
it's like Morris Springer. It's like the Morris Springer show combined. And yeah, that's too wild. Instagram has its moments,
Right.
but Facebook, we all understand Facebook has
Yeah,
that
I
once
think
a
DM
month.
culture is not new. I think it's just been, like you said, it's been magnified. Because I just saw something where, and I saw this yesterday, and I just died laughing because we talked about Black Planet.
Mm.
In the last, I know, right? We talked about Black Planet, but I got something talking about the resurgence of tagged, and I just shook my head. I just did this to myself because I had 2 tagged accounts. I'm not gonna lie, but I was slow. I was on tag playing Mafia Wars and other
Mm.
stuff like was the tag like hookup culture. It was like dedicated to that. And now there's something that I saw that tagged is literally making a comeback. Like it is seriously revamping amid this whole quarantine situation. And so tagged is making a resurgence. And I was just like, hmm.
Why not?
I
Everyone
mean,
has
everything
cabin
else
fever
is you
right
got
now.
to.
Everybody got nothing but time right now. If I could have got it right and thought ahead, I would have had some stock in Zoom,
Right.
because that. But everyone's right now home. This is foreign, a foreign time. No one really knew this was going to happen to this extent. We always
Right.
thought something might. So it's getting us prepared for the next generation of dating, which I always believe me personally, I always whether I would rather have a conversation with someone or FaceTime them before actually going out to have a date. And that's what I tell a lot of guys, because that gets, I know y'all women love to eat, but that gets costly for a man. And y'all will go out to dinner with a guy knowing dang well
You ain't
he ain't
interested.
going nowhere past lunch or dinner. So, I think that's a good way for guys to establish and see if it's worth entertaining in this DM culture.
I agree because blah 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 blah. Epiphany and I talked about that Monday when we did our wrap up. We talked about women who date just for the sake of dating for a free meal or for
Mm-hmm.
practice. So we do. There are women do that. There are women who do that. As we don't sit here and tell no lies. I think that as from a male point of view, yeah, you got to protect yourself because who wants to break the bank? Who
Yeah.
wants to break that wallet knowing that somebody just practicing on you or they're not interested? It just doesn't make any sense from your point of view. Yeah, women like to eat. Yeah, I mean, I've seen stuff. We've had a whole conversation in ringside about dating and when you're dating a woman that has kids and whether one of the posts was talking about whether the guy should pay for a to-go meal for the woman's children. And I was just like,
How many?
why is this a thing? First of all, why is this a thing? Because if it's a first date, I think it's out of pocket. Personally, as a woman, I think it's out of pocket to expect that man to buy your kid a meal. That's your job to feed your child. This is a first date. This ain't like y'all been dating for a while and it's serious and y'all exclusive. This is a first date. I would never even think to go there. But that's just me. I
But and that's foreign to us. But what I'm seeing from the generation under us, it's like hook up now, establish if we got something in common later. You know what I mean? So she may go on a date thinking, I know he ain't gonna be around long. Let me get what I can get
right.
because I really ain't, I
I ain't
really
into
might
it.
not even be into him like that.
Right.
But it's gonna be one of those. It is what it is, and you know. So our culture, that's the whole thing with the culture again. I'll hear a lot of people saying that you'll always hear people, no matter the generation, say they're looking for love and they want a relationship, but your day to day activity, your day to day choices doesn't equate to that. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
I
those are the
think
things I see a difference.
I do. I agree. I agree with Reginald here when he says you shouldn't be introducing your children on a first date. There needs to be a conditioning time. I agree. I don't even think you should be talking about your kids on the first date, even if in the DMs. Because let me tell you something. I've had some people ask some inappropriate questions. You know, on the first go round.
Mhm.
Soon as I respond, where you live. Not what do you do for a living, none of that basic stuff. Where you live. How can I come through and see you? I want
Yeah.
to get to know you.
The
So I think that
homosexual.
there are a lot of, inappropriate questions and things that happen, but you have to establish those boundaries from the beginning and know. And again, I mean, Epiphany and I said it on Monday. You have to know what you want. So you establish those boundaries when you start dating. It's not the other person's responsibility to establish boundaries for you because they don't know what you want. You know what you want, but they don't know what you want. And so I think the same applies to men. You have to know what you want and what you're looking for, draw those boundaries. And if you find that in her, move on because what she ain't got, somebody else. That's how it's too many people on this planet to put all everything into one person. And I think that in the age of social media and whether I don't care if it's Black Planet, Tag, Instagram, Facebook, whatever platform you're on, you can still find what you're looking for. I just saw an article yesterday about how people are actually using Zoom for dating now. Like that's how they date now. Like that's how they're introducing people they're dating, they're getting to know. Eventually you're gonna have to have a face-to-face, but that's like the new norm. That's the way it is. I mean, if you're gonna be quarantined for a while, why should your social life come to an end?
You go
No.
mental.
You're gonna go crazy. Yeah. So you need
Well,
that social interaction.
Well, back to Reginald's point, I think when you're a parent, you should have some responsibility as far as when you're dating, and I say that in the sense that women, especially, I'm not going to sing out women because I get them comments, but when a woman, bringing different guys around, you're going to kind of soften and condition your daughter or whatever to think, or make it seem like it's just, you know, so you don't want your daughter to see guys coming in and out. But I could say that in the same regards to men, because when I was growing up, my dad was a bachelor. So to this day, I still see women. They be like, "Hey," and I'd be like, "Hey," and I've met like he had them in and out, in and out.
Right.
So when you see that, how am I going to view women? You know, if they're so interchangeable.
Man, you hit so much right there because I know I had somebody I went to college with who had a revolving door stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And their comment was, my children don't see what I do. But yet they turned around and did the same thing that she did. See, you think your kids don't see what you do or know what you do, but they do. And I think that you hit the nail on the head with that. In the same token, hey Tiffany. In the same token, when it comes to men,
My
it's the
favorite
same
bird.
thing. What you see, what your children see, it affects how they approach dating, relationships, male, female, whatever. One of the things that I hit on, I don't know if it was with Epiphany or if it was with Jeff when I was talking about when I met Ed Gordon, it was Jeff. When I met Ed Gordon with Black Enterprise when I was doing coaching, and one of the questions they were talking about the impact of the male father in the home, especially the black man in the home. And I asked the question about the impact that it has on daughters. And one of the things he said was absolutely is critical because as a man, I can spot a woman whose father was not in her life or
Mm-hmm.
not in the home. I think the same thing can be said about men and the impact that their presence have on their children, because a lot of the responses from the men in the room as they were talking, you had two different men. You had the man whose father was in their life, not necessarily in the home, but active in their life, versus the ones who did not. And the ones who did not, the common theme was that there was a pattern of behavior that they went off to do versus those whose fathers influenced them, good, bad, or indifferent. So I think that your point about, having that relationship, and what you see in especially in your father's behavior. If you had a father who had a revolving door, it's
Hey,
not it
that's
you
my
you
confession.
children emulate what they see their parents do. If you ain't seen no TikTok videos or any of these videos in social media, children emulate what they see. That is the truth.
Well, I say this, and to not to go off topic, but I say this when I do get a chance to mentor, and I usually mentor single dads, guys from my era. I will always take responsibility and say that my generation dropped the ball. So some of the conditions and issues we're dealing with now, as far as our youth, comes from my era because a lot of the guys that me and you went to school with never grew up. They still on
Never.
the corner. They never committed to a career. They had kids. They never committed to, I'm a parent now. Let me turn the page.
Right.
But to co-sign on that, no matter if it's a girl or a boy, every kid, the first blueprint in their life are their parents. And I know every boy want to be like their daddy. Most boys, that's their everything. This is that image to me. So when you look at, if I got a dad that's out there hustling, you don't tell me nothing about no school. And that's what we deal with in the schools. I got a dad who's coming home. I can't tell him, don't be like me, don't do this and that. When I'm pulling up in a drop car, I'm selling drugs. You see my lifestyle, and my kids like,
I want
that's
that.
my dad. And I've
Yeah,
actually had kids during the teaching years that will say, I'm gonna be like my dad, or kids in elementary, middle school. They talking about dropping cars and they talking about guns. They're not talking about, stuff that should be impactful compared to a kid that comes from a home where the dad is professional and he gets to see. So that blueprint is always important, whether it's life, dating, or whatever.
I agree. I think that, as we talk about DM culture and, other things. I think one of the challenges is that example, because again, setting that example. If I see my parent on social media, because like it or not, listen. When I got on Facebook, and I held out for the longest time because it was said 18. I was like, well, I don't want to be over here with a bunch of kids. It was some kids on there that I knew full well was not 18. So you can't say this and that when you got a kid that's 7 years old, got their own cell phone, and or
Yep.
10 years old, they got their own cell phone. You think they don't see your social media? If they don't see it of themselves, you don't think their friend, somebody at the school, somebody they around, don't see your social media and show it to them? And DM culture is no, your DMs are not safe. People will blast you. We talked about this with Jeff about the guy went in on her on Twitter. He was smashing her, and she smashed right back. Like one good turn deserved another. And he the whole time, like, dude, you do know screenshots exist. And he just mouthing off, talking about talking about his size, his penis size, and all this other kind of stuff. And she was like, "Boy, it's 2 inches," and he said, "No, it's 8." She said, "Do you really want me to send you the picture? Do you really want me to post this picture?" And he was like, "No, you don't know what you're talking about." Next thing you know, boom, is this you? And the picture
Happens all
right
the time.
there. So guess what? Your DMs are not safe. And in this age, you setting that example, and it's kind of like, well, how can you expect more of the next generation when this is kind of like the norm? I want to go back up because we had a comment
What's up,
from
Jeff?
Reginald. Yeah, I know. Jeff is in the house. Reginald said, if you're with that person for a few months and you see it growing, that's when you introduce. This goes back to when we were talking about the children, especially in the climate we live in today. It teaches a poor behavior. Absolutely, it does, because again, a constant rotation. You don't know who these people are, and having people around your kids, you do not want your children to be a statistic, nor you, because it's too many children dying at the hands of this person, that person, because you just introduced them to somebody, and it's just that ain't it.
Well, listen,
Jeff
next
says,
week,
go
next
ahead.
week on our 22nd, I want to introduce two different items, the two PTSDs, the post-traumatic single disorder and post-traumatic, what is it? Post-traumatic social dater. Two
Oh, that's
characters.
good. Go ahead on. Let's talk about that. We're
Yeah,
gonna get into that. Yes.
yeah.
Yes. Uh-huh.
And
Cause
Troy and Jeff had me thinking after our last town hall, both of them brought a lot to the table. I was like, and I sat down with my notepad and thinking about different things. Okay, you know,
yeah. I mean,
but
because
those are
first of
real
all, it's a
people.
serial situation. You posted something this week that was really impactful that I want to talk about in a minute, that I think affects DM culture and a lot of what we're seeing online. And Jeff said, people can't handle rejection in today's age. I've been dragged horribly for simply not responding to people. I disable DMs on my phone. Listen, you don't owe nobody nothing. You don't have to answer, especially, listen, you are responsible for protecting your energy and your peace. And when people bring that foolishness, I don't answer everybody's DM. I got some right now on Instagram. I ain't answering it. I just deleted a whole bunch of them that's been sitting in there. I'm just like, I ain't answering y'all because I already see that. I'm not gonna that no, you don't owe
Listen,
that. But I think people feel like there are some people who will push and pressure and push. And I very rarely block people, but it's got to be pretty bad for me to block you. But I have blocked a few people. It's just out, go away.
no, I know I've heard some horrible stories. I've had people that will tell me, female friends that'll say that guys just send a random dick pic to their messages, right? And they're appalled. But
Mm-hmm.
on
We
the other
don't want
end, you know how many people that actually respond? I know dudes that claim that they work. It's always the guys that do it and they claim that works for them. So I was like, as much as it's insane to us, there are people that actually
respond, yeah,
play
because
those
they wouldn't
games.
do it if they wouldn't do it if they weren't getting a response. But I think
Right.
that also the other day was it it's not social media day, but it was send a new day or something like that. So it was a day dedicated to sending people nudes, and you had to respond.
Mm.
Talking about it was acceptable. It's really crazy, and I was just like, when you have stupid days dedicated to that, it really reinforces that mindset and that culture, and it don't make no sense. I've had people to do that. I've had people send me text messages, and I have deleted them out of my phone. Don't send me that. Don't even disrespect me by sending me a picture of your body part like we get down like that. Because
Listen,
we don't. Don't be
back
in
in the
my
days,
DMs. Don't be in my emails with that. I didn't ask you for it. I understand that. Like, I don't know who you know that's okay with that. Do that with them. But I have, if I don't, especially if I don't ask for it and I don't give you that vibe that we like. If I'm dating somebody, don't send that to me.
hey, back in the days before HR improved, we actually had a day called No Underwear Day. And this is a story I laugh to this day. And I'm thinking like it's nothing but men that work in this department, but this was on the board, on the bulletin board. I'm like, yeah, okay. So those weird type of days been around for a long time. News Day. I think this week one day was Horny Day.
That's
So
what it was. That's what
Horny
it
Day,
was.
yeah.
It was a day for being horny, and you could just send pics, and people have to respond and all of this stuff. And they were talking about how horny are you and all this. I'm going like, what? It was.
Wait, didn't something happen this year where if you send like a random pic of your private parts to somebody, it was considered assault? I know they did something. It's something that you actually can get charged for if you just sending random
It is.
sexual.
I mean, it is because you don't know if a child will get get a hold
Yeah.
of that. So the problem is, that becomes. I think it becomes a federal offense at that point because it's child pornography. Is this that? It's
Mm.
I don't know. It gets into crazy stuff. But my thing is, why would you do that? Because anything you send through the airways now it's in cyberspace. Somebody got it. It ain't, even if somebody deleted it, ain't never gone. One thing I learned from people who did computer science and all that kind of stuff, they was like, it's never gone. It's never gone. Even if you empty your trash, it's never gone. It's
Never.
always somewhere. So why would you put that out there? I don't even in the DMs, because again, screenshots exist. Like
Mm-hmm.
screenshots exist.
Well, can we say this? We're in a culture where everything's sexualized. I mean, some of the commercials that come on during the day while our kids are watching TV wouldn't have came on back in the day.
Ooh, no,
Um,
not at
Listen, the
all.
stuff that I see, you got a lot of people that they making money off it. I know people that listen to last year when you will say somebody will just put their own sex tape on Facebook, not making no money, but they'll put on and it trends and then it goes viral. Or how
Right.
many people had no problem, sending news? It's just a different era where we were more
Right.
reserved. Like your mama would put on a house coat and a little cap. Like you're not gonna see much nudity, even in the movies we used to watch. They'll kiss and then they fade to black later in the
I
morning cooking
listen.
eggs.
I remember when Purple Rain came out. It was like you definitely can't go see that. You know what I mean? It was just like now Purple Rain is like PG and would be considered
No,
PG because I'm. It's really crazy, and you're right. It's very different now what's going on compared to, of course, when we came in, and what was socially acceptable versus what was not socially acceptable. And I think that one of the challenges that people do face, whether you in somebody's DMs or otherwise, it's well, what do you mean by this, or how is, it's I think a lot of it is also perception and how people are perceived and different stuff, but it's like
listen, HBO. My friend, one of my best friends, we used to spend the night at his house because they had HBO. After 10 o'clock, you see the movies with the little raunchiness in it, right? But now, the kids know how to work the phone better than we do, and I can
yeah,
go anything, and I want to get porn or nudity for free. So if it's always consistently in your face, it does have you drived up. You might not say if you was to sit in a room where that kind of activity going on, you're gonna either get out of there or you're gonna sit down and start to your temperature gonna start to rise.
Mm-hmm.
So it's about what you visually feeding yourself.
Yeah, I agree. Clyde says, unfortunately, this is how far our culture and society has fallen. Prior to the advent of social media at large, this would not have occurred. Epiphany asked the question, has it really changed, or is it just acceptable to be open now? And
That's the
then Clyde,
question.
that's the question.
Yeah,
And it really has become more accessible and accepted in today's world, which has driven the change. I agree. I do think that the more accessible things are, like, okay, I said it again when I was online with Jeff. Listen, parental controls mean absolutely nothing. And I say that because, like you just said, kids know how to get around. They know how to work the phones and all this stuff way better than we do. It's crazy.
well,
It's insane. And they know how to work it. Like, they know how to work it.
to
It's
Zion
crazy.
Lee's point, I guess that was the question, but it's a market for it, so that's a good way to explain it. Now that there's a
Right.
market for it and it's very profitable and it's the day to day, you know,
Yeah.
that may be
It
it right there.
Yeah, I mean, because it's how people get down. It's how people get down. And I think that with that, I believe that leads to the pressure of why people have such a problem with rejection. I
Yeah,
really do. I think that because there's so much out there, that it does lead to a greater sense of pressure. And Jeff said it earlier, people just don't know how to handle rejection nowadays. And I think that there are so many different dynamics that lead into why that's the case. Again, you got fragile egos, you got this, you got that. But I don't know. I don't know. I
I
think
do.
that
I got a thought on that.
showing shoulder was
Ev-
big much back in the day.
Everything is image based, right?
Yeah.
So in this culture, most people will judge somebody in 30 seconds. They see the person. They don't know. They ain't had a conversation with them. You know, they don't know anything. They didn't get the scan from head to pow. Face, shoes, he got his teeth. You know, that's what I'm seeing a lot of, right?
Right.
So image based, a lot of people, because I want to generalize, a lot of people in this generation are looking for the look before they're looking for what's inside, right? So to Jeff's point, when Jeff's saying he gets attacked horribly, it's because a lot of people are attracted to Jeff. You know what I mean? That image, right?
Mhm.
So it's
You
only
ain't
one
telling a
Jeff,
lie. You are not telling a lie.
but they
You
being
are
aggressive
telling
because
the
we
truth.
after Jeff, you
Yep.
know, and every person in their mind is I'm the one, like I'm it, you
Hmm.
know. But that image everyone is chasing is a big thing. So when you reject me, I'm the one. What do you mean you're not interested? You know?
Like,
So
how dare you? Like,
yeah,
don't you see this?
yeah.
Right. I agree with you. I think a lot of that too is when people get rejected, they project
Mm-hmm.
a lot and act out. I'm not
Especially,
saying that it's okay, but baby,
especially,
they will blow up in the DMs. Because and I can always know when something has popped off because Jeff tweets. He will tweet about it, and it's hilarious. But at the same time, I'll just be over here like, so how bad was it? Like, what
yeah.
happened with this situation? And it's crazy because if somebody's not interested, just moved on. Again, y'all understand how many people are on this planet, and you want one person? And it's just like, yeah, everybody can't have Troy. Everybody can't have Epiphany. Everybody can't have Horace. Everybody can't have Jeff. Everybody can't have me. Everybody can't have, you know what I'm saying? Like, everybody can't have. And for everybody who will say no to you, for every no, there's a yes. You just got to get through some of the no's to get to that yes. And maybe you said it in the last town hall. The yes that people get ain't the yes that they want.
Mm-hmm.
And because it's not the one that they want, they will push and push and push that no that they get. And it's like,
Yeah. Sometimes you know
then
it's
you get
wrong from the get go.
mad. You get mad because now the rejection is even worse. Just
But
accept the no.
a lot of people know it's wrong from the get go. But this is what I want. So you ignore the red flags, and I knew this ain't the best for me, but this is what I want. And then later on, you know, it turns bad, and it hurts a little
Right.
more. It hurts a little more. But back to the DM culture, the images and reality TV are have changed the
Right.
culture. So I don't know. I can't say it's good and bad because a lot of people enjoying the hookup culture. Look, I'm busy. I got my 9 to 5. I'm professional. I can
Right.
go to Tinder and swipe left, and a chick
Ooh.
is gonna be open to say, "What's up?" Smash, and then we're going about our business our way. You know what I
Right.
mean? If something happens during that smash and that I feel a little something, then they double back and establish if they got anything in common. Us in my generation, hell, I had to go sit on the couch. I had to go meet grandma. Our dates was timed, man. So back in my day,
Man.
we had to work. We had to work on a
Curfew.
date. Work. We had
Right.
to work, man.
But I think the issue is you hit the nail on the head just now. Work. People don't want to work for nothing. They don't want to work for it. They
Mm-mm.
don't. And I'm not saying now. I will say this too. Sometimes folks do unnecessary stuff to make people work for it when it ain't that serious. Like, what game are you playing? Go sit down. And it goes back to what we talked about earlier. Is listen, if all you want is a free meal, I know some guys who would just rather get a chick the money, let you go eat by yourself because my time is more important. And one of the things that Epiphany and I talked about on Monday was time. Like, listen, you really want a woman, listen, rather than give me $1,000, I want 1,000 minutes of your time. And so, not all women, but if you want a certain kind of woman and you're really serious about a commitment, certain women, that's what we want. And so,
Somebody,
go ahead.
no, someone just had a comment that said after this pandemic, the culture is going to change, and
I
that
agree.
is a big thing. Because right now you got people that been in relationships and it either make it or break. Some people realize how much they got some real intimacy over these 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and some people just realize I can't stand their ass. We done.
That's true. The truth is coming to light in a
Mm-hmm.
whole lot of people's life, and it's like, ooh, I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it. It's like watching a real life soap opera with somebody. I'm like, ooh, baby, I don't know what to tell you. What you gonna do? Because this is a situation too where you got to face it. Like, you can't leave the house; it's right there in front of you. You're gonna have to deal with it. So I think too, you raised a very good point just now. People are getting there. Two things are happening. They're realizing real intimacy. So they're not
Mm-hmm.
settling for this trash that they've been experiencing. You know what I'm saying? That hookup culture is not ain't gonna be, it's always gonna exist. But I think the whole dynamic is gonna change because I think part of hookup culture is gonna go back to what it was in my mom's day. Hookup culture meant two things. What we're talking about is, okay, we're just gonna have sex and bang, but it also meant, hey, meet my friend. I'm
Mm-hmm.
hooking you up with somebody I know because I feel like you will be a good fit for each other. And so I think that we're going to see some of that, but we're also the DM culture. Some of that nonsense is going to change because people are realizing, like, oh, life is too precious and too short for all of that.
Doc,
Yeah.
let me ask you something. You saying it's gonna go back to the it was back in your mom days, but a lot of people got caught with their pants down, men and women. They've been going through this quarantine without no bait, right? So after this pandemic is over, the first couple of weeks they're gonna be at you. We dating, we taking trips, we taking vacations. People gonna be in overdrive to go see everybody that they thought about, potentially thought about. Listen, they're not gonna get caught in another quarantine without a bait or
Yeah.
somebody special,
Listen.
and then it may go to what you're saying. But after this,
I think
no
it'll be a time. I
$1,200
think
going
there's
on
definitely going
trips.
to be a. I think there's definitely going to be a transition period. Like, we're not going to go from boom boom. It's going to I think it's going to transition, and I think there are always going to be people who are going to hold on to a certain way because renewing your mind is not that easy. And if you just don't want it, nothing, no pandemic or emergency situation or nothing is going to change somebody's behavior. And I say that because HIV has been a pandemic that has ravaged the world forever, and there's still people out here having unprotected sex.
Yeah, I wanted to say that last week. Like we ain't dealt with the other viruses that's out
Right.
there. But listen, Bahamas gonna be the Bahamas, Jamaica, the islands, the cruise
Yeah,
ships. They
their
gonna
tourism
be
industry gonna
lit.
be good.
They gonna be lit. They're 1,200. I ain't saying they spend it all, but by the 500 of that going on the trip, listen, my stock purchases in the cruise industry are gonna be impactful.
Right.
What's the comments?
It's crazy. Let's see. Let's see. Epiphany says the STI and STD are going to be way up, all the way up. She talked about Victor
Mm-hmm.
Victoria. Yeah, that's true. Reginald says exactly. People are going to be in bars and dinner and diners and trying to get to know one another face to face, trying to figure out how they can be good for the future, especially if another scary pandemic happens. I think
Which
that there will be some. I think what he's talking about is intimacy. Because if we
mm-hmm.
equate intimacy to sex, and intimacy is not sex, it's a byproduct. Intimacy leads to sex, that physical connection. But intimacy is I'm getting to know you on a totally different level. It's I want to know what's up here, what's going on in your heart, what's going on. Like it's something totally different, and you people are going to spend that time really getting to know one another. I think.
Loving basketball. Loving basketball. Being able to sit in our socks and sweatpants, sit on the couch, have some
Yep.
conversation, and talk about absolutely nothing, but yet it's still something that feeds your soul.
Yeah.
But right after this, I'm adamant. Listen,
Oh yeah.
we on
No,
them
people
cruise
finna ball out.
ships,
People gonna
bars,
ball out.
because
Yeah.
they're saying that the pandemic, we still don't understand it. Could be a seasonal thing or whatever. We don't know how this is going to affect us. People ain't getting caught with their pants down no more. They gonna have a pandemic bay on deck.
Mhm.
Listen, get your 2 week bag, people, because a lot of people got caught.
I just saw where Kaylee Cuoco, she because of the pandemic, she just now moved in with her husband. They've been married forever, but
Damn.
they were not living together. But because of the pandemic, they decided that they're gonna spend the pandemic in quarantine together. They've been married for a good bit. And now they just now deciding that I was like interesting or something. I just saw that. I was just like, that's very interesting. So
Well,
it's pushing people to do stuff for sure. I think just as many people that are gonna be looking for that quarantine bay. It's gonna be some people that's gonna be looking to be free.
listen, let's get the disclaimer though. I was listening to Brother Polite, who was a political figure. I can't say Pan Africanist. He has the multiple wives thing going on, and he explained it. But this culture, you have to, even in the hookup culture, you have to get at 1% that works for them. Like
Mm-hmm.
they are bachelors. They're gonna be lifetime bachelors, and bachelorettes where it works for them. Hey, I'm chasing my dream. I'm on my career. Or really, I just don't want to be bothered because there's a lot of people that have been hurt so many times that listen, I just can't go through it again. I'll hook up as needed, and it works for them.
Right.
So there's always going to be that percentage of people that keep the DM culture, the hookup culture going.
Oh yeah.
Which is dangerous to me, to us. To us, we've been taught that it's dangerous, but a lot of people are like, "Hey, it is what it is."
I agree. I think that people again, it's a mindset shift. And if you're not ready to shift your mind and that's what you want, that's the lifestyle that you want to lead. I think, like you said earlier, DM culture is just adjusted. It goes with the times. You know what I'm saying? It changes with the times as time goes on. Hookup culture is never going to go away because back in the 60s or whatever, it was all free love and all this other kind of stuff. The name changes or whatever, but it's still the same thing. Folks, if you go to college, I don't care if you go to HBCU or PWC, is there.
Life changing.
Like,
But what are we trending into? That's a question for Zion and Jeff and the comments, the panel. What are we trending to? Are we
yeah.
are we going to shift more into more of a hookup culture, or are we going to go back to what you're saying? Because right now, there's so many outlets right now with the social distancing and just being people I guess not putting dating and finding love so high up on the priority list, where you can, people got OnlyFans, you got all the porn sites, you know, people are finding their outlets, so their sexual outlets in different ways. So
Reginald
are
says
we going
it'll be
forward or
an
backwards?
explosion. He said it'll be an explosion of being out of the house and reckless for a couple of months. Then people are going to start actually saving, traveling, and just doing things on their before I die list. I think so. I mean,
Yeah, that's pretty accurate.
that's pretty accurate to me. I find that to be
People ain't
spot
never
on.
appreciated life. People ain't
Yeah.
never appreciated being able to just take a ride to the stove, go to a house
A whole
party.
lot of stuff been taken for granted, but you finding out real quick that.
Yeah, what are we shifting to? I battle with that because, like I said, the generation under us, everything's so fast paced, and you got a lot of people are dating on how I don't even know the word I want to look for, where you have a certain group of people that are marrying up, like the
Mm-hmm.
girl that's on Instagram and with the fake butt, the breasts, and she's doing all of this.
Right.
She's getting wifed up. She's getting wifed up. So you might be a girl that spent her last 10 grand or whatever, and going from a meek, humble beginning, and she marries a football player, basketball player, whatever, her life changed. And
Right.
it happens all the time. And I
Yeah.
always thought that was why Instagram and social media went the way it did, because, when you had the Amber Rose and the different public figures, those girls that everybody like, ooh, they were getting wifed up.
Mm-hmm. And she,
So,
she, she's still out there. She's still out there doing her thing.
yeah, so as last year, remember the thing was people were saying hoes were winning. You remember that?
Yeah, they were.
Mm-hmm.
They
Mm-hmm.
sure were. It was a whole that was a whole culture. It was a whole I mean they have whole conferences. They was having whole conferences dedicated to it. And people thought I was like, no, it's a conference. They got side chick conference. There was a TV show talking about the real side chicks of Charlotte and
Oh, remember that?
all of that. And it was just like, oh, you tripping, you crazy. No, this was a real TV show that they piloted called The Real Side Chicks of Charlotte. So it's been a lot of stuff. And I think that and yeah, side chicks was winning and it was this and it was that. It's just
The guy that died, I can't think of his name, from ATL. He had a show that was coming out with his 9 baby mamas. So that baby mama era has been a while around for a while as well.
what
He
guy
got
which
called. He got called in a. He got called. He got killed in a car accident.
oh just last week or something, I think that
No,
they
it was
just
last year.
this was last year.
Yeah, I can't think of his name,
Okay.
but he was beefing with Ti back in the days. But
Oh, okay. He had nine
yeah,
baby. First of all,
and he had a
nine baby
show.
mamas.
He had a show that was coming out. They filmed and taped the whole season. I don't know if it'll ever come out, but right now that baby mama thing is still a real thing. You know, there's a lot of baby mamas out here, and that's somehow that became a trend. So interesting.
Right. You see my face, right? Because
But I mean, that is what it is. I know someone that came from a nice home, and right after they graduated, they had a bunch of kids, and that was the story. There was never ambition to go towards, college or anything like that.
well,
Just
I mean, I talked about this on Monday night with Epiphany. I went to I there was somebody in at college with me, and her whole focus was to get a man. Like she came to college, she picked a degree, but her whole concept was to get a husband. That was her
yeah.
that was her focus, and she got that. Ended up getting divorced, but because she never used her degree, she got stuck. Because it was just
Mm.
like, oh, you got to start from the bottom. She was like, but I got a degree. They was like, but you never used it. So because you never used it, it's worthless. So you got to start from the bottom, and now you're here. So
Well, there's a lot of people, men and women, that the type A personality. That's always been the cherry on top. I'm going to chase my career. I'm going to go through my list of things I need to accomplish.
Right.
Then, marriage, I'm not complete until I get married or I find that, wife or husband,
Right.
and that's the end all.
I wanna ask a question about the impact that rejection has though on people and the decisions that they make as it relates to dating and relationships and the things that they want, because I think it can go in one or two ways. It can push people, I think it pushes people on two different ends of the spectrum. But what are your thoughts on how rejection affects people's dating decisions?
Well, first off, I want to say that it does rejection hurts everybody, right? But the ego that all of us or most people have, when you do reach out and say you're trying to talk to somebody, you're doing it with the confidence that you think that person's obtainable. As a
Mm-hmm.
guy, most guys not gonna shoot the shot unless I think I can pull her. So when I get rejected or I get left on read, it's almost like an insult. Like like inside, like who I am.
Right.
So a lot of guys ain't gonna shoot a shot unless they think they can hit the shot.
Right.
So when you get rejected, a lot of people don't know how to process that rejection. And I always wanted to say it, we needed to figure out how to process saying, "Hey, I'm not interested in somebody." I know a lot of people who just don't return the message. You have people that put people on blast, which I don't think is cool. When somebody can, or you can have someone that generally tries to have a conversation get put on blast where their inbox messages put out there. Oh, I see the post with
Screenshots.
women that say, "Oh, men always in my inbox." I don't
Right.
always believe, but then you put out there, you
Right.
humiliate somebody. You know what I
Right.
mean? So the rejection, that is something that we all have to battle with. No one likes rejection. I
Right.
just always say figuring out a way to serve someone. Is there a right way, or do you just not reply? You
I
know,
think that you have a lot of people that ghost. Like ghosting is real. They'll ghost on a job, they'll ghost this, they'll ghost that. Just I think that you have a valid point. Like people, and Jeff said it earlier, people just don't handle rejection well. I think that one of the things we need to do a better job of is creating an environment, a safe environment for people to adjust and know how to handle rejection. I don't care if it's just like a counseling or if it's a class. Like I really think that these are some, like, to me, these are some social skills. This is part of social skills training that people should get, especially kids early in life. Just like there should be a communications class, kids need to learn how to communicate. I really think that, create a safe environment for, first of all, create a safe environment for failure, create a safe environment for rejection, to teach people skills on how to handle those things and respond accordingly. Because if you don't teach people, they don't know. To me, rejection is a part of life. People are, you're not always, it's kind of up there with popularity. You're not always gonna be the bee's knees. You're not always gonna be the most popular. But how do you handle that? And when you don't know how to handle that, I think that spills over into other things in your life. Like when people get rejected, it's gonna be one or two ways. They're gonna go to the opposite end of the extreme and they just go wild
mm-hmm.
out, or they're gonna go to the opposite end of the stream and kind of internalize things. And either way, it's gonna lead to some type of toxic behavior in a relationship. It's gonna come out.
What?
It's
Think,
gonna come out.
how many L's you gonna take before it does weigh on you and you start self-examining yourself? Like, am I ugly? Am I fat? It does. Start to certain people are gonna start examining. Like, damn, what is it? Is
Right.
my bad haircut? Is my teeth bad? Or
Or is
like,
it
if
the
I
people
ain't
that
touching
I'm
nobody,
approaching? Or is it the
yeah.
people that I'm approaching? Maybe
But
I need to stop approaching these kinds of people because at
that's
the
too
end of the
easy.
day, who's the common denominator?
But that's too easy. Again, back to
Yeah,
our ego. A lot of times, certain people we shoot for the moon. You know,
right,
sometimes we shoot high. We shoot high as hell, and and we go after the same type of people over and over and over.
Yeah,
And
you
that
gotta crawl before
applies
you
to a
can
lot of
walk, but
people.
we don't want to do that. We don't want to crawl before we walk. We want to jump into 6 feet knowing we can't swim.
Before you see the trait, before you
Right.
see, like, oh, it's a pattern. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But again, there how many L's? I will also say that a lot of people, you know, in your inbox and any female inbox, is that one guy who ain't going away. He didn't hit your inbox 1,000 times. Hey, beautiful, how you doing? They gonna go
Oh, they gonna
on
cycle
and on
back.
and on.
They will. They, listen, the persistent ones. Listen, they bide their time, and like 3 weeks later, when you think he gone, boom.
There
Then
you
he might
go.
wait a couple of months. Boom, he's back. Like it's that persistence to see if you done change your mind or how
Mm-hmm.
desperate you are
Right.
or what's going on, just to kind of have their finger on the pulse of what's happening in your life. It's very interesting to see the persistence and how some people are just like they don't take no for an answer. Clyde says the art of handling rejection and of handing out rejection is based upon the level of maturity of the person. I agree. This maturity is not taught in the current culture. Everyone wins and an award and everyone is a winner. Yes. I thought, listen, when they used to do that with little leagues, I was like, y'all finna have a problem because you're not teaching children that everybody that somebody gotta lose. If
Mm-hmm.
everybody get a trophy, what's the point of competing?
Right.
Because you're teaching children and sending the wrong message. Because in life, you ain't always gonna win. You ain't always gonna get a prize. You're gonna walk away with nothing at times. If you and I agree, and that's what we got now. We got a culture of folks who don't know how to handle a loss, like you said. But again, I do agree. How many L's does it take before you start looking at yourself, before you start asking those hard questions? And Epiphany and I talked about that Monday night. It's like, I don't know. But again, what do you want? If you don't know what you want, you're gonna keep going after the wrong thing. So
Listen.
why is it so then the question is, why is it the other person who's rejecting you fault? Because folks like to play the victim. But the reality is, like you said, people want to shoot for the moon, but you shoot for somebody that don't meet the criteria of what you want.
Listen, that is one of the biggest things to master in your life is that moment where you can look in that mirror and give yourself a straightening. Before my last relationship, I can look back and I didn't even notice it. I dated the same person over and over, just in different forms. And then
Mm-hmm.
I had to analyze why was it what was it about me that kept going into that same situation over the same exact person, same traits, how they did this and those are the things I said I didn't want.
Right.
However, I kept getting into those relationships with those same type of people. There was three people that were exactly alike, and these were long
Wow.
term relationships, like five apiece.
Wow.
You
Wow.
know, so I had
Wow.
to examine what was broken in me that I always tried to stay and get in those type of things.
Wow, that's crazy. Okay, so Reginald said he's had someone follow him on all social sites and even mingling apps, hiding pictures so he wouldn't know, offered him money to be with him, ran into him at the club, and it freaked me out. It would have freaked me out.
Mm,
Like, that's like stalking.
it
I think
is,
that's
but
scary because DM culture does create a situation, or even social media, where people will stalk you. They will, like you said, they lurk. They will stalk you, and then by the time they're in your inbox, they're telling you everything about your life because they done stalked you on all your social media, so they know where you are and they know when to start popping up. And it's like,
yeah,
that's
been tuned
scary.
in.
That's
They've been
wild. But
tuned in.
it's that's wild. And then then offer somebody money.
Fans, listen,
That's wild.
all of us have fans, whether we will address it or acknowledge it. We have fans. It's scary for Reginald because it sounds like you have someone that's been tuned in, but it goes back to that image. Apparently, Reginald is the image of what they want.
Yeah.
They don't know Reginald yet, but that image, if that's who I want, that's the person for me. You know what I mean? And I'm tuned in. I'm watching the social media. People will put themselves in a relationship with you, and they don't even know you.
Sure, up here, yeah, up here, they done created a whole life with you. I think that that's the power of social media, whether it's
Mm-hmm.
Instagram, Twitter, whatever. Because Instagram ain't nothing but one big vision board. Same thing as Pinterest or anything else. Even Facebook, it's a vision board, and I can create this vision of the life that I want with this person. And so all I got to do is pick this here, pick this here, and pick this here, and now we're off to it. And some people don't know the difference between fantasy and reality because those lines have now blurred. So now, yeah, I got the courage of all the Avengers combined, and I'm gonna roll in the DM because I'm Captain Marvel, and I'm Iron Man, and I'm Black Panther, and I'm all of these people combined, and I'm it. Not
Listen.
realizing that you don't really know that person. You know the persona, you know the perception based off of what you see. You know what I'm saying? It's just you know the representative based off of different things that you found on social media. It's just like meeting somebody in the club or the church, meeting somebody for the first time. You meet their representative. You're meeting the person they want you to see at that moment. And so all the social media, all of this stuff, these are just sound bites of people's lives. But people will absolutely create a fantasy
Mm-hmm.
of you, and that's what they want to be with. So the Reginalds and the Jeffreys and Epiphanies and all these different people that people find out here, it's like I have this mindset that
A file.
I know I'm the right person to be next to them. Because some people, to be honest, just want to be a trophy because
Mm-hmm.
this person has this image, like you said, this person has this image that I want to be next to because they got the in crowd, they got this, they got that, and I'm the perfect trophy. But now
Listen.
realizing that person may not want a trophy.
Listen. When I was still in music and I was entertaining, still in entertainment, that is one of the biggest things that me and my best friend I battled with, because when I was going out and I would meet people, I would get almost questioned, without fault, because I was still in music. So I was going to, they'll see pictures of, might be on tour or the
Right.
club appearance. And they were saying, oh, you're a big party animal. People always say that to me, oh, you're a party animal. And I was like, the reality was I'm a hermit. Anybody will tell you I'm a house person. I'll put a pool table in my house, my
Yeah,
treadmill, my
introvert.
gym.
Very much
I'm
an
in the
introvert.
house, but I
Right.
can go out and perform on stage and do a show, which does something for me. But I'm going right back into my bubble. But when
Right.
I would meet people, they could not accept me being this person that's kind of quiet and whatever. You know me, social media or entertainment, I'm a fool. I
Right.
can act up, but the me inside my dwelling is, I'm watching
Totally different.
documentaries, I'm cooking, I'm chilling. But everyone I would meet almost seemed like they were disappointed because they had expectations of this person that they seen on tour or in the pictures, like,
Right.
oh, let's go drinking. I'm like, I don't drink like that.
Right.
Oh, let's do this. I don't
That
spend money
ain't me.
like that.
Right.
So the expectations led to a lot of disappointment because of
They saw a
unfair
lifestyle. People will
unfair
absolutely
expectations.
confuse. They will confuse what you do with who you
Mm-hmm.
are. Like,
Right.
okay, Jeffrey has a show. They very well, like you said, that image. He does promotions. You know what I mean? He does club promotions and that kind of stuff. Listen, people will absolutely confuse that because there's a different side, but it's because you don't get to see that side. Don't mean that it doesn't exist. But like you said, people will get disappointed, and they'll be up in there. Reggie says, right? People see what they want to see, even if you're being true to your true self in photos. Absolutely,
Right.
because again, they created this fantasy in their mind of what you're like, and they cannot accept. It's very hard for people to accept the truth. But guess what?
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is. This is who I am, and I'm not finna be who you want me to be because now I'm miserable. But why would you want to be with somebody that is not themselves? But people don't care about that. They want that image. They want that thought process, that lifestyle that they think comes along with it. It's just like, okay, we've had a conversation in Ringside. I don't know who posted it, but they were talking about this woman who was married to a fake doctor. Listen, all the
Oh
warning
man.
signs was there. But because she just really loved being married to a doctor, she didn't care. Listen, y'all, we live in the age of Google. It's too easy to research something. That's like I would have believed this guy was a doctor, like I believe that 16-year-old was a gynecologist down here in Florida, like he was real. You can look people's stuff up, but because people want this image, they just want to be married to a doctor. They just want this. They just want that. They're willing to overlook what they want to overlook because this is what I want.
Ooh,
And
that
that
was a
leads
damage.
to DM culture, which leads to more rejection because you setting yourself up for rejection. Because again, and I'm gonna say something that's probably wrong, but I don't care. People want somebody that they don't even qualify for.
Oh, we all shoot for the moon.
Right. But do you qualify for that person? Are you ready for that lifestyle? Because maybe it's some stuff that you got to change about you.
Yeah.
And maybe they see that because just like you checking them out, you think they probably not gonna check you out.
Yeah. I think it's one of the biggest problems in dating. And I always use that analogy for people. This person, is someone that wants you. You don't want them. The person you want don't want you. So that circle keeps going round and round.
Yeah. Yeah. It's endless. It's
Mm-hmm.
endless. It's unfortunate, but yeah, it's endless. It just keeps going and going and going and going. It's like,
Back to the images, though. I
yeah.
think TV, movies has played a big part on, has influenced and kind of made people biased
Mm.
because, reality TV is this big thing and everyone, I say everyone because I keep saying everyone, but you may go on someone IG live and they're just sitting there just like, and people will be tuned in. I'm like, what am I watching? You know what I mean? So that attention, I made a joke last week and said, I'm going to sell attention. People need my attention. So who need attention? I got some attention for sale because a lot of people want to be those almost reverence like their reality stars off the Housewives show and whatnot. You
You
know,
made a point the other day when you talked about attention is the new it used to be money is the root of all the love of money, but now it's the love of attention
yeah,
is the root of all. And I think that people just money attention is now a new form of currency. It's a new form of currency, and so
it is.
people want that. And yeah, it's just like Epiphany is saying, people just want to be famous for nothing. And it
Right.
is a problem, and it is absolutely affecting dating and relationships because if I can go viral, even if it's just my 5 minutes of fame, I'll take my 5 or my 15 minutes of fame and run with it. And reality TV is still scripted, but I think that it has played a huge part about it. Yeah, there is a market for that. You can have a live when you're putting on socks and people will tune in because of their desires. Though, absolutely, because yeah, everybody wants their 5 minutes. Everybody wants something. I've seen people go live and all they're doing is cooking or they're not doing anything. You just posted where somebody Facebook talk about watch my kids while I go smoke.
And they
And
watching
people were
too.
actually watching. They was like, you better get off that coffee table. You better get off this. You better stop doing it. And it was just like,
Dr. Hughes, I want to bash the reality show people about their housewives, and we know it's scripted. But I must
people
admit,
watching.
back when wrestling was on, once I found out wrestling was fake, it did not stop me for a year or two from not watching
Oh yeah, I
the
watched
10
wrestling for a
o'clock,
while till
the
it till
10
it became
o'clock,
ridiculous and realized that this
11
ain't nothing but
o'clock.
it's a sports soap opera. Because when it
Mm-hmm.
started getting ridiculous, I was just like, I can't.
But for a while, there was our soap opera,
That
right?
was it.
So to Zion Lee's point, everyone wants to be famous for nothing because you can be a one-hit wonder. The girl, the Catch Me Outside girl who just turned black, listen, somebody gave her a $30 million deal. Okay. Lizzo, I've never listened to a song. I don't want no hate from the big girl committee, but she doing a lot right now. She's famous. All these people get famous overnight for what? And they're getting like millions, mega millions. So when I see the big girl, I just said her name. I can't think of her
Lizzo.
name. Lizzo. Like, come on, sister. You are doing a little. You doing the most.
I think she's well, I mean, it's just like
$30 million.
But the same can be said on the opposite end of the spectrum about Cardi B.
Yeah, but it's a market. We could keep
It's a
coming back
market
to
for
it. They
everybody
got
and
fans for
everything.
it.
I don't like. I think that there is. I'm. I feel like
Listen,
as a woman, and again, I'm a card carrying member to Thick Thought Life, so whatever. I think that there's a time and a place for everything, and people lack boundaries, and they lack that understanding. Be you. But I can honestly say I can turn it off. I don't have no problem. I just turn it off, turn channel. I don't listen. I don't watch, and it's a choice. But Reginald says I honestly wish for the Black community when we are on the reality shows, we need to be better as teachers on a platform because the world sees you and you're seen as a representative of the culture.
I
Boom.
was gonna make that point. I was headed there when you said Cardi B, right? I was a fan of Cardi B in the sense that I knew where she came from, so we all cheered for her to become a successful megastar, right?
Mm-hmm.
And but then, I started to see some of the stuff, and I say this to all entertainers: you do have some responsibility in your comments and your remarks. So I'll
Mm-hmm.
see Cardi B. She was talking to Bernie Sanders, and she was like, she don't know much about politics, but she started getting into it. I cheered her, right? So then I started hearing some old comments. I was like, so she got people listening to her about politics, and then the next day she had a tweet where she was like, "Hey y'all, I wonder how pee tastes," and I'm
Yeah,
like,
I saw
the
that. I
most
was just
random
like,
stuff.
I
Or when
can't
she was
with
talking
her.
about drugging guys, when she was talking about how she drugged guys, and I'm like,
I can't with
you
her.
have a large fan base of
Yeah.
young women, you know, but
You have a
I think
responsibility. A responsibility. But a
what
lot
you
of
know
them
what.
don't feel like they do. Or don't
Listen,
care.
I walked away from a lot of money when I was in music because almost like the movie Brown Sugar, it was so my soul would not allow me to be in another studio session listening to the most god awful music, the kind that y'all listen to nowadays. Some of the most untalented, horrible music that added no value to music or the
Right.
culture. I walked away. That's what made me walk away from music, where it was just like, what does this do for anybody? Like I don't even know what you're saying. I don't even understand the lyrics. I
Okay.
walked away.
Don't make sense.
All right.
Epiphany said, this is good. Here's the thing. How are these people being raised? Well, I think that goes back to the question that Jeff and I talked about Wednesday night. Are they being raised? Because we talked about the fact that, parents aren't necessarily in the home. Because if I'm working 2, 3 jobs just to be able to support, kids are raising themselves. And I think we're living in a time where we're seeing a generation of people that grew up raising themselves, that grew up raising themselves off of the internet or figuring it out on their own. And this is the result, not because their parents didn't want to be a part of their lives, but because circumstances led them to, again, if I'm a single parent or even a 2-parent home and I'm working 30, 40 jobs and that many hours a week or whatever, just to be able to maintain, it makes it difficult. Now, on the other hand, there might be people who did have that their parents were active in their lives, but you can only raise people based off of what you know. You can't walk where you've never been.
Let
So
me
if
start to
my
show you.
parents, right, or if my mama had me at a young age and she didn't have an older person with old fashioned values or traditional values, I'm just throwing an example out there. We are both winging it and figuring out. Some parents want to be their kids' friends. Some did not
Mm-hmm.
know how to raise their children. So we're seeing a combination of things that made life a little bit difficult. You know what I'm saying? You can't blame
No.
them for their actions. Where are their? I agree. Our world is looking up to people who raised themselves. Cardi, yeah, and yeah, that's what I'm saying. Cardi raised herself. Circumstances and situations where people ended up having to figure it out on their own. There are a lot of people had to raise it. A lot of people had to figure it out on their own. Clyde said it like this: babies raising babies. I agree with that too. There's
Ah.
so many circumstances that it's just really hard.
Well, to your point, we talked about it at the beginning of the show when I was telling you about mentoring and talking, saying that my generation dropped the ball, right? But before that, look at my hometown. My hometown was the equivalent of Wellington or Boca, right? But when came into our community, those same streets where I knew a judge down the street and firefighters, all this community, when they dropped crack in our communities, man, I remember
Change
my
everything.
city changed in 6 months. It turned into a whole different place, right? So then you
You
had
know,
people, kids, we were raised, some of our best friends were raising themselves, whatnot. But I come back to my generation where a lot of us never grew up,
they still
you
ain't grown
know,
up.
or we're partying, we became friends with our kids and we're glorifying the stuff that we're doing and we knowing it's wrong. My dad come from a generation where they hustled, but I know me or my family, we never seen any of that. It was always about decency and order. You was older and you figured out you didn't see that now compared to parents sitting down watching TV with their kids, where it's a show about where they might be watching reality TV with their kids, and the kids are seeing them react to housewives or something about drug dealing or whatnot. So we dropped the ball as far as responsibility because again, the blueprint is what we give our kids. What they see, you can tell a kid don't do this and don't say that. They're gonna watch and see and mimic that.
Yeah, we said that earlier. Kids do it. Ain't. It's listen. That whole "do as I say, not as I do" that never worked. It didn't work then. It ain't working now. It's
Salute the
definitely not
teachers.
working now.
I salute the teachers because a lot of parents don't have an answer. They just sending their kids to school like, please do something with them.
Yeah. Um, we need to have a culture that accepts course correction. Like before, this is the issue. Yeah. And I do, like you said, listen, they do expect teachers to be the end all to be all. I have a conversation with somebody who has a spouse who's in education, and the parent called and said, I don't know what to do with my kid. Can you talk to him?
No,
I said,
it's
what you
real.
mean you don't know what to do with your kid? You want somebody who's not in your home to talk to your kid about their behavior and to get them to do their schoolwork. But you the parent and you say,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what to do with my kid. So are you the parent? Where you try? I mean, when do you actually parent then? Are you ever parenting? So I think that, there's a whole lot missing in communities that lead to where we are now with DM culture, folks not knowing how to deal with rejection, relationships overall, social skills. Like I think a lot of what we see now is lack of social skills. Period. Dating requires social skills. Yep. We said this Monday night. These parents are stuck in the house with their kids going crazy. And yeah, you parents are realizing what these teachers say. It ain't everybody else. It's your kids that are the problem.
Doctor,
So,
look
yeah.
how many kids. Listen, like I said, my 2 3 years in education, you wouldn't be surprised how many kids that act they fool all day, looking like they need attention, like acting like they unloved. And you know what they see love at is when you send their kid home or write them up. And the educators out there listening will co-sign on this. Is when that teacher come to school and show they ass off and defend that kid, not knowing what didn't happen or whatever. I'm talking
Yeah,
about
but you come up
belligerent
there as a
cussing.
parent, like, oh, it's not my child, it's you in this school and such, 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 such.
Yeah.
It's anything
Mm-hmm.
to get that attention to so now I know my mom cares about me.
Right.
It's a cry for help. It absolutely is. There's some social workers that can tell you that. But
Yeah.
again, I think that leads to again lack of social skills and again accepting responsibility that came out earlier about acceptance and different things. All of that it affects what we see in dating and relationships. I don't care if it's DM culture, rejection, all of these different things since we had our first town hall, it's all crazy, and it's so much.
Got a question for you, doctor.
Yeah,
In this area of DM culture, and we seeing that attention is the new root of all evil. Will we see more weddings, or we simply start to see more babies?
I think it's gonna be depending on the person's values and what they want. One of the things Epiphany and I talked about Monday night was knowing what you want. And I've seen a trend. There's been this trend. It was going on for the longest time, especially among celebrities. Nia Long did it. And I think that's when people really started talking about it, where you have children first and then they decide to get married. You know, whatever the family came
Mm-hmm.
first and then marriage or whatever. It really depends on what you want. People want stuff different now. I'm traditional. I ain't having no babies with nobody without getting married. That's just me though. But and that's because I've seen what it's done to family members, friends, that kind of stuff. Now that's not to say that people don't end up in divorce. You know, that's a different situation. But I think that especially with this pandemic, it's changing people's mindset and their thought. People are looking at life is too short. So a lot, Reginald said it earlier, talking about people gonna do a whole lot of bucket list stuff before they die. If
Mm-hmm.
you've been wanting to have a baby and you ain't got no possibility of relationship, you gonna see some people, whether it's adoption, surrogacy, or having a baby on your own, you know what I'm saying? Or going to a fertility clinic and getting artificial insemination. You might see an uptick in that. You might see an uptick in weddings and weddings. You might see an uptick in divorce. Straight up. Because guess what? It's still people out there. I don't like you. I don't. You know, like it's you're gonna see. I think we're just gonna see some stuff all over the board as people have had time because they're forced to face their relationship situation. Um, Good, bad, or indifferent. We finna see a lot of stuff.
Okay, so online dating.
Oh yeah.
I look at online dating, and that was something that took off, and now online dating isn't really a big thing right now. The Tinders and the hookups are the big thing, but you don't see too many people with a dating profile
Right.
up
The
anymore, like a
eHarmonies, and you talking about like an eHarmony and stuff?
eHarmony and
Yeah.
Match and whatnot. You see more of the Tinder. I don't know what Grinder is. I don't even really know
It's
what
a
Tinder
grinder
is.
is it's like Tinder for same sex.
Oh, okay. See, so you're seeing all that stuff, which is expedited. You know, what you're doing right now. Let's have coffee, hook up. But you don't see a lot of people talking about Match, Christian Mingles,
You don't even see the
Farmers.
commercials. You don't even see eHarmony commercials, Match.com commercials,
Mm-mm,
even
not
the ones
anymore.
for the senior centers, like over 50, and whatever. You don't see that. But again, I just, like I said, I saw an article where they're talking about people using Zoom for dating. I mean, you saw the guy who used we talked about this where the guy used the drone for the girl on the roof, and people are getting
Oh
very
yeah.
creative and finding other ways to date. I think people are realizing that some of these dating apps ain't been working. They haven't worked. They work for a few people, for some, but for others not. People are going to be taking things into their own hands. I think what this is what I think. I think we're going to see people making connections through friends. Hookup culture the way it used to. Again, like I was saying earlier, I know somebody that I think would be good for you. And you're gonna start seeing a lot of that because I'm seeing a lot of people on Zoom and Skype where you got like 90 people on once, because you can do that, and it's just like, hey, I think y'all would be cute. Y'all got good chemistry, or hey, I really think that this person might be good for you. I think that I would see something like that. Um, but you just again, we just not gonna know until they come out because you don't know what's in people's head and what they're gonna desire. Reginald says, I think they are going to end. People are going to flood the public now and meet in public. I do. I agree. I think people want that intimacy. They want that person to person contact. I think we're going to see people improving social skills because they want that. Listen, technology is not the enemy. It's how people choose to use it. But I do think people are going to desire human contact again because they haven't had it for so long. And people are going to want that.
Well, I would agree in the sense that people right now don't want to waste too much time. So I think people have kind of elevated no more of the snail type pace.
Right.
That and also people want to see what you look like in person in this catfish era.
Because folks are
Whether
sick of the catfish. Folks are
listen,
sick of the catfish. I didn't even
we
know
are
catfish
mad.
was still happening.
Well, listen, men, we got issues with these filters. You know what I mean?
Oh my,
And
not
then
just men, women too.
and then y'all mad with us because we might say we 6 foot and we 5'4", we hoping you accept us when you see us.
I'm
But
thinking about that
listen,
meme that I saw. Did you post it? Somebody posted talking. You've been talking to a guy for so and so amount of time. He pull up, and
that was
he's
me.
basically a little person. What do
Yeah,
you do? And one woman said, "Drive on."
yeah, yeah. But that's real though, because listen, the deception. I my blog that I did about a month ago was saying that this is almost like a used car salesman mentality. Because when you're meeting someone, most people are going to sell you all the good. They ain't gonna let you know, like I got some issues inside, some mental issues. I'm a serial cheater. I'm selling you on how good I am, right? And the deception goes also far when, listen, like someone was saying the other day that they were a certain height, but they like the taller guys because they wear heels. I'm like, I respect that, but that don't mean I'm hoping you will, curve your demands. Hey, I'm only 5'10", but maybe you'll work with it. But that don't. I'm taking up for man law because that don't compare to you being looking like Beyonce red, and then I see you look like Sam Jackson. That's deception. Okay. You know, you can't have, you know, too many. Listen, I can work with
Okay,
some
so
stuff,
this goes
but
back to
don't
what
be
Tiffany and I said on Monday.
she gonna be mad with me though.
It's okay for you to have your preference. And we said this in Wednesday night as well. Your preference
Mm-hmm.
is your preference. And you listen, that's why I'm saying rejection. A lot of people get rejected because you want to go after people that don't meet your criteria that you want. You the one compromising.
They
And then you
reaching.
mad because you got rejected because you stepping outside that lane. But then at the same time, I agree with you. People need to stop lying. But I think that's why Reginald said people gonna flood the public again because guess what? People are over the lies. Listen, you listen, all people busting out and they sick of the lies. Like for real, like
Mm-hmm.
right now with Zoom, guess what? This is live and in action. You want to know how tall somebody is? Stand up.
Mm-hmm.
Like make them stand up. Like I need you to push
Mm-hmm.
that camera, push that computer back, stand all the way up so I can see everything. I don't want to see the print. I don't want to, you know what I'm saying? Like, but I need to see if you telling the truth that you 6'2".
Well,
Are you
listen,
6'2" or you 4'11"? Because there's a difference between 6'2" and 4'11". Because I'm sorry, I can't do nothing with nobody 4'11". That's my preference, though.
God, I don't know. God got a sense of humor now. That
Post
might
it
be
out.
Sherman
I
him,
rebuke
and it
it.
might be
I
yours
rebuke
you.
it. I rebuke it
Listen,
before you get it out your
so
mouth.
last week Epiphany rebuked me when I said about the difference. It was a misunderstanding when I was saying that you have someone like she could read like Beyonce, and then when I saw her, I was like, you're nowhere near this complexion. You know what I mean? And I got what Epiphany's point was. Some is enhancement, but I was
Right.
saying those people over here on this side, that's fraud.
Yeah.
That's the
Oh,
devil's
when we
cake
talk about
frosting.
makeup and how they use the makeup to transfer the color.
You man, you don't even look like the same person. There's a big
Yeah.
difference
Sometimes
with that.
I saw a video today. I really did. I saw a video today where the woman was, and she took the makeup from here all the way down. And then I thought about Kim Kardashian West, where she has the body makeup. Now
Mm-hmm.
I will say this: she used the body makeup because she has psoriasis, and so that when she after her flare ups, you still have bruises and stuff until it clears up. So that she could still have wear whatever she wanted to do, she would use that makeup. And so now she has the body makeup, it doesn't wear off and all this other kind of stuff. So she had it for an aesthetic because it was
Medical reason.
a skincare reason. But there are people who would use that stuff for something else. Like MAC Cosmetics is not for everyday makeup. It's movie theater makeup. MAC tells you ain't supposed to be wearing this every day, but people still do it.
Well, your president not really orange.
Yeah, we know that.
Yeah. He don't think y'all know that, but he not really orange.
Yeah,
He
he's
put
not.
on his little orange every day, and then around the side you see the paleness.
Yeah, you do. I love it. These standards are not measuring up. I agree. To bounce to rejection is dangerous because then they get into a relationship and beat down that person mentally because they don't match what they were rejected by. Boom, boy,
Expectations.
Rachel, you are brilliant. Have we got? Here we go with the makeup. Horace, wait till we all next week.
Yeah.
I am not Listen, don't even do it to yourself. Clyde, Dr. 5'11", 5'11" what? Listen, 4'11" is what I said. I said 4'11". I can't do nothing with nobody 4'11".
You're
That's
not
my
gonna reject
personal.
what God has for you, Dr.
I
Hughes.
still
He's
rebuke it.
still a
I
man.
rebuke it because he gives you
Listen,
what you desire and what you need. And I got my list. Go ahead on. Go
you
on. Go
can't,
on.
don't you
Go
dismiss
on.
that man because he has afflictions of height. Okay? You're not gonna do that to him. God got a sense of humor. I'm trying to tell you. You want a tall
I
man?
know
Let's send
because
you Sherman
what
Hemsley.
I like is typically not probably what I'm gonna get. But anyway, y'all, this has been a fantastic ride as with the Silent Thunder himself. Y'all see why I say he's the Quiet Thunder. He has come up. We had a great conversation about DM culture and rejection. Y'all get ready. We're gonna wrap this up with Troy on Monday, and
Oh
that's
boy.
gonna lead us into, I know, right? That's because Troy gonna come up with, yeah, it's gonna be amazing. Y'all meet us here Monday night at 7 o'clock. We're gonna wrap up with Troy, none other than Mr. CDC himself, Trey Amazing. And then Wednesday, all of us, all 5 of us, gonna be in his house. And I keep telling y'all, God can keep his 411. Exactly, Clyde. He says he has
That's
stories.
messed up.
I know you do.
411.
We're gonna be talking about thirst traps on and so much more on Wednesday night. I can't wait to get into it because I've been collecting some thirst trap pictures. I got some TikTok thirst trap videos. We go
I'm ready.
because y'all, somebody asked Wednesday night when I was on with Jeff talking about you gonna teach us how to be a thirst trap. I know we're not teaching thirst trap, but you might learn something watching these videos and looking at these pictures and stuff. But yeah, so y'all come back and check in with us, share it, tell other people about it. We're having fun. Appreciate all of you as the audience because you all are bringing an amazing energy and it's fantastic. If y'all have topics you want us to cover, send them to me. You can inbox me on Facebook or drop them in the comments. I got a lot of stuff from our first one that's on my list, and we could not exhaust all of these at all. But yeah, you guys are amazing. We want to thank you so very much. You could be doing other stuff with your quarantine time, but go back, watch it again, talk about it at your leisure, have fun. And yeah, we'll see y'all next time. Same bat time, not same bat time, but same bat channel. Love you guys. Have a good one. Enjoy y'all's time.
Peace out.
All right, bye.